All right, yeah, good afternoon. So today we're going to have a look at the May-June 2025 maths paper. Um, so this is the list of formulae that you get. Question 1. Using a calculator or otherwise evaluate each of the following given your answers in exact form. So I will use my calculator because I see that this question is 1 mark, right? To save time basically. So 3 over 2 squared in your calculator, you should get 9 all over 4. Go back the minus 1 plus 6. So I just put in a little bit of working over here. Now, negative 1 plus 6 will give you negative 5. So this will work out to be 9 over 4 plus 5 because negative 1 plus 6 is 5, positive 5. And when you add these, well, when you add the 9 over 4 and the 5 in the calculator, you should get, let's see, 7 1/4, or you could convert this to improper fraction and you will get 29 over 4. 7 times 4 is 28 and 28 plus 1 is 29 all over 4. Or you could even write it in terms of decimals. Well, in terms of a decimal, that is 7.25. So anyone here should work. So I will put 7 1/4 or 7.25. Right? So moving on to part 2 now. We have 2.1 times 10 over 7 in brackets, and then we have plus 12 divided by 1 and 3 over 5. Divided by 1, 3 over 5. So I would use the Bud mass rule, right? But because I have the division of 12 and a fraction there, I could also put this in brackets. So what I will do, I'll work out 2.1 times 10 over 7 in my calculator. I am getting 3. Go back my plus sign, and then I'm going to work out 12 divided by 1 and 3 over 5 in my calculator, and I'm getting 7 1/2. So therefore this should be equal to 10 1/2, right? 3 plus 7 is 10, and then you put back the half, right? Or you could convert this to improper fraction. So 2 by 10 is 20 plus 1 is 21 all over 2, right? So this is 10 1/2 or 21 all over 2, and that's 2 marks there, right? So let's go on to part B. Part B, Miranda earns 8,316 per month. $8,316 per month. She spends 4/7 of her earnings on utility bills, food, and personal items, and she saves the remainder. Notice, saves the remainder is in bold, dark black, right? Um, so if you consider the whole as 7 over 7, this is one whole. You're minusing how much you spend, which is 4 over 7, and you will get your remainder, which is basically 3 over 7. So this is her remainder, right? Very important to note. So they say what percentage of her monthly salary does she save? So percent saved will be equal to the fraction she saved, which is 3 over 7, and then you have to multiply that by 100 to get it as a percent. Right? I will simply type in this in my calculator as well, and I am getting 42.86 to 2 decimal places percent. Right? So 42.86 12%. Simple as that. Now, part 2, the portion of her earnings spent on utility bills, food, and personal items is divided in the ratio 5:3:4 respectively. Calculate the amount of money she spends on personal items. So, since they say respectively here, that means that utility bills will relate to the number 5 in the ratio, food will relate to the number 3 in the ratio, and personal items will relate to the number 4 in the ratio here. So you want to find the sum of the ratio. So sum of the ratio, or sum of the numbers in the ratio. I'll put it as sum of ratio. That will be equal to 5 plus 3 plus 4. And this should work out to give you 12. Right? Because 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 plus 5 is 12, right? Now this is the total amount in the ratio here. Um, the portion of our earnings spent on utility bills, food, and personal items. We need to find out this amount now. Now, if you scroll back up, they told you she spends 4/7 of her earnings on these things. And so we now need to find 4/7 of the total amount of money, which is $8,316. So we can get that amount. So amount, I put in AMT for amount spent on utility bills, food, and personal items as follows. 4/7 times the total amount of money she makes for the month, her monthly income, which is $8,316. I'm putting this all over one. Typing this in my calculator, and I'm getting $4,752. Right? This is how much she spent on these things, but remember they wanted to calculate the amount of money she spent on personal items. So she spent 4 out of 12 on personal items, 4 from the ratio out of the sum of the ratio, which is 12. So this is the fraction she spends on personal items, multiply by the $4,752, because it's only a fraction of this amount of money that she spends on personal items. And when you work out this using a calculator, you will get $1,584. Right? So that is basically the answer there for this one. 2 marks. Now part 3, Miranda saves the same amount of money each month. So we don't know how much she saved yet, but we know the fraction that she saves, which was the 3/7. She saves this amount. Show that her annual savings from her earnings is $42,768. Now I need to know what annual means. Annual means for a year. So they want to know the amount of money she is saving for 1 year. So let's find out how much money she is saving for 1 month first. Right? So amount saved per month, or her monthly saving. This will be equal to 3/7. This is the fraction that she is saving, times the salary, which is $8,316. All over one, and I will type in this in the calculator. I am getting $3,564. Know how much you save for the year. So amount saved for the year. This will be equal to the monthly saving, which is $3,564 multiplied by how many months in a year? 12. So multiplied by 12. They already give you the answer. You just have to show this. You should get the $42,768 when you multiply all this. Yes, and I am getting that. $42,768. So it's just a proof, basically. And that is 1 mark. Now, part 4, she invests $42,768 in her credit union, which pays compound interest of 5% per annum. What is her total interest earned after 2 years? So, in the formula there, P is the principal, or the amount you invest. The amount you invest is $42,768, which was her annual saving. Yeah, that was her annual saving. Um, R is the percent, which is 5%. We just put the number 5 there because R is already divided by 100 in the formula. N is the number of years, which is 2. So we have all the variables here, all the numbers for the variables P, R, and N. It's just to find the amount now. The final amount of money after 2 years in the credit union will be A, which is equal to $42,768 times 1 plus 5 over 100 to the power of 2, because N is 2. And when I type in this in my calculator, you should work out the 1 plus 5 over 100 first, then square that, then multiply that answer by 42,768 in the calculator in that order, and you would get a value of $47,151.72. Now this amount of money here is inclusive of the investment, so I'm putting that here, inclusive of the investment. Right, so if it's inclusive of the investment, that means we now need to subtract the investment from this total amount, and we will get the amount of interest, basically. So total interest, the total amount of money she actually making there, interest, is equal to the amount minus the principal. The amount the principal is the amount she invested. Amount is how much money in the credit union now after this amount of years, 2 years. So it'll be the 47,151.72 minus 42,768. So this given you her total interest. I'm putting I subscript T for total interest. So her total interest is equal, when you subtract that in your calculator, you should get put them at the dollar sign, $4,383.72. Right, so this is the total interest. And that was the question 1 there. 9 marks. think it was pretty straightforward.